need everybody to mobilise.
If you're wondering why we are here, if you read the banners that people are carrying, we're here for justice for those who've been injured by this product. The government calls a vaccine. It is not a vaccine. It must be removed from the market. All mandates must be removed. We're also protesting against the plans for digital ID, for digital currency. If you think your government won't try again to lock you down, don't ever forget what they did over the last 3 years. We're also here to protect our children. We believe there is a moral and cultural decay in this society. We are asking you to hold your government to account for their actions of the last 3 years. Your government wants you scared, anxious and afraid, so they introduced a pandemic. A pandemic in the last 3 years has had 16 different variants. We all remember the L variant, which was the first one out of Wuhan. They made the scientists go with the Greek alphabet. With the Alpha, the Beta, the Gamma, the Delta Plus. Those 5 variants in the first 2 years. And in 2022, we had another 9 variants. Another 10 variants, 9 of them being Omicron. It was all a marketing exercise. With the Omicron BA1, BA2, the Omicron BBX. The last one was the Omicron Kraken version. And this year we've had a version they call a component. And what I want you to do is to think about how those variants went through this community. The first 2 years were the supposed more virulent versions, the Delta Plus. And what you want to consider is that in the first 2 years of this pandemic, 2020, 2021, excess deaths actually decreased in this country. When we had the supposed most virulent form of this so-called virus, excess deaths in this country went backwards. 2022 we had a spike, according to the ABS, Australian Bureau of Statistics, of 15.1% increase in excess deaths. And that was in the wake of the Omicron variants, which were, although more transmissible, less virulent. So the government is refusing to address why the excess deaths went up as the danger of the pandemic went down. It's very confronting for people to get their head around the fact that the government introduced a product in late 2021 which they called a vaccine for something they called a pandemic. And by January 2022, we were at 80% fully inoculated in this country. And that is when the excess deaths spiked. 15.1% in 2022 alone. And unfortunately, every single highly vaccinated country has experienced a similar increase in excess deaths. Across the EU, it has increased 19% for the year 2022. And this data is easy to find. The European Union has a website, it's called europa.eu. And on that website, they have a data collection agency called Eurostat. A quick search will bring up Eurostat, and you'll see that in December 2022, Germany had an increase in excess deaths of 37.3%. France 24%, Ireland 25%. Every single highly vaccinated country had a significant increase in excess deaths. Step back to it. So again, it's very confronting for you to get your head around the fact that your government introduced a product that is actually damaging this society and every other society that followed the government narrative. The Johns Hopkins Centre, which is one of the most respected medical and educational institutions in America, has published the coronavirus statistics right across the world. And I spent a bit of time looking at Africa last week. Africa has a very low vaccination rate. In the first 2 years they were at 7% vaccinated, and they have a very low rate of deaths from this so-called virus. The only countries that have a high death rate from this virus are also highly vaccinated. So you need to ask yourself, at what point do you decide to not accept what your government has done to your country and every Western country? Because it is simply unacceptable. And what I find really hard to justify is the fact that your own government pushed these products, of which they knew nothing about, onto your children. Onto your children. So again, I ask, what is worth fighting for? Because if you won't stand up for your children, what will you stand up for? Because the children are the future of this country. And whenever people have been challenged by their government, whether internal or external, they will make a stand. For some reason, our community today has decided that football and the Formula One and Netflix and Uber Eats are more important to than what their government is doing to them and their family. So the reason we are out here, and again, we've been here just over 3 years now, every week, is to try and raise awareness over what your government is doing to this once great country. And we want you to act. Stop complying. Stop tolerating what you know to be wrong. Stop being apathetic to what you know to be wrong. Because it's very challenging when you realise that it seems like there's nothing you can do. But I guarantee you, if you do nothing, then nothing will change. Compliance never changed anything. Tolerance never changed anything. Revolution were never started by men who are happy with what their government has done. So please question everything.